So what's interesting to me is how much development has been happening in the actual digital eyewear space. We've all known for a long time, this is what needs to happen in order for this industry to really take off. People need to be able to wear the device that allows them to see digital content, so that they don't have to pull out their phones all the time and have to fiddle with an intermediary. And so we've seen a lot of progress just in the last 6 months. First is the announcement of Microsoft's HoloLens. We've all known that Microsoft's been working on something for a long time. They finally come out with a big push, and with that made as much buzz around Microsoft as there's been since pretty much ever. So this is just a quick little snapshot.
Look around. Technology is all around us. We use it in every aspect of our lives. It enables us to do amazing things. What if we could go further? What if we could go beyond the screen, where your digital world is blended with your real world? Now we can. This is the world with holograms. What will they enable us to do? New ways to visualize our work.
I have an idea for the fuel tank.
New ways to share ideas with each other.
How things down your end?
I just put the images in OneDrive.
Okay.
More immersive ways to play. New ways to teach and learn. So put the new trap in the place of the old one.
Now what?
And tighten here. New ways to collaborate and explore the places we've never been. Look at this formation. Let's take a closer look. And new ways to create that we imagine. Because when you change the way you see the world, you can change the world you see. This is Microsoft HoloLens.
Okay, so a lot of cool stuff going on there. You'll notice that they refer to AR as, they in fact don't even use the word augmented reality in that video. There's a reason for that. Nobody knows what that means. As long as this industry has existed, and as much as we within the cognoscenti are passionate about that term, we understand what that term means, it's still not a mainstream term. And even those people that have heard of it in the mainstream, they're a little bit put off by it because it's wordy. And so you'll see a lot, more than one company using their own kind of inventive way to refer to it. So you'll hear Brad and Drew talk about 4D, right? That's Dacri's way of referring to augmented reality. Microsoft chooses the term holograms. These are all terms that are much easier for the layperson to grasp. And that's how they are bringing the technology to the forefront. And it's a smart marketing move because you want people to immediately understand what it is that you're talking about. In this video, we see some use cases that we've already seen with some other devices, and some that we haven't yet. For example, the guy who's talking on his iPad, or I'm sure it's a Surface Pro.
Surface Pro 3,
yeah. To the person wearing the HoloLens, and then that person sees through their HoloLens those annotations in real space. I mean, that's a real use case that people see, oh, yes, I need that. And you might have caught the reference that the guy put his files in OneDrive. I'm sure that was on purpose too. So at the same time, Google, not to be outdone, has invested $500 million, that's $500 million, into this small little Florida company called Magic Leap. And this is just a quick little video on the technology that they offer.
It's secured more than $500 million in venture funding, promises immersive 3D experiences somewhere between augmented and virtual reality, and has media industry bigwigs singing its praises. But the thing is, nobody really knows what Magic Leap is up to. The company hasn't shown off so much as a prototype product yet. All that's there for now is a lot of money and a lot of hype. Magic Leap's technology is reportedly built around something called a dynamic digitalized light field signal, which can merge realistic computer graphics like this elephant with what the user sees in the real world. Augmented reality, basically, but the New York Times says it's more accurate than most. Magic Leap is better coordinated with how the human eye and brain process images, making the computer graphics feel and move more naturally. Recode says it involves a wearable projector that will track the user's eyes. We're also told the company intends to use an infrared camera similar to the Microsoft Kinect to create a 3D understanding of the world around the wearer, so the virtual objects can appear to go both in front of and behind things. Google led a $542 million financing round for Magic Leap, which included firms such as Andreessen Horowitz and Kleiner Perkins Caulfield and Byers. Google's Sundar Pichai now sits on Magic Leap's board, and so does Richard Taylor, the co-founder of Weta Workshop, maybe best known for its work on the Lord of the Rings movies. The kind of cash and executive manpower, and coming from Google's main corporate arm, not its ventures division, led to suggestions Google could have some sort of plan for the future of the Magic Leap as a company. The concept is also drawing comparisons to other 3D headsets, most notably Oculus Rift, which was acquired earlier this year by Facebook for its own hefty chunk of change. Magic Leap CEO Ronnie Abovitz, that's him in the spacesuit, at a recent TED Talk, downplays those comparisons, saying he didn't want his product as part of a Facebook versus Google narrative. Still, whatever Magic Leap is working on has been generating the same sort of effusive praise the Rift has been known to elicit. One investor in the film industry talked to Fast Company's David Linsky. "It's so badass you can't believe it, David. It's one of the few things I've ever experienced in my life where I came out and said, this changes everything. This is a marker of the future." And sooner than later, if Abovitz is to be believed. For all its secrecy, Abovitz says Magic Leap will be ready for the market in the near future. For Newsy, I'm Matt Moreno.
One of the reasons people love internet journalism, because you can use words like badass.
Right.
So a couple things about that. If you read the some of the news articles that were clipped there in the video, you saw that it uses the term cinematic reality. Again, trying to use a term that people can grasp. In the voiceover, he says it's kind of like augmented reality, but better. And so again, AR is now even used in this derogatory sense, like, oh, that's all that stuff is AR, but we're cinematic reality. Right. A lot of semantics, a lot of terms being thrown around, but that's what we're all talking about. The same thing. We're just trying to put our own spin on it. You heard that Magic Leap is rumored anyway to involve a either retinal tracker or retinal projector, some kind of technology that we're not seeing in the other headsets, and its selling point right now, it presumably is the quality of the picture. That's how they're trying to distinguish themselves, rather than these use cases like we saw in the HoloLens video. We're looking at Google's marketing this as something that's crisper and more high resolution. So not to be outdone and not to leave the local guys out. These guys will probably tell you a little bit about it, but DAQRI just had its 4D Expo, its annual event where it shows off its latest and greatest, a couple weeks ago in LA. And this is a project that's was announced a few months beforehand. This was its public debut, and I'm kicking myself I wasn't able to be there and try it on in person, but I'm hoping they have it at AWE in June.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Awesome.
Sure. Oh, that's in June?
That's in June, and we'll all be there for sure.
Yep.
And so this is the DAQRI Smart Helmet. And unlike the other two things that you saw, which are aimed at the popular consumer market, Microsoft, Google, they're going for every consumer. DAQRI's made a strategic choice, and I think it's a wise one, to start off marketing to a very niche environment, and that's the industrial space, a space that cares about what the thing does, maybe not as much as what it looks like, and cares about quality and real utility. So that's what DAQRI's showing off in this video. was certainly one of the best produced 3D animations that we've seen. So again, there's a lot more you can see about each of these three technologies, but they've each got their distinguishing factors. The thing that unites them all is that they're all very recent developments within the last 6 months in this wearable visual space. Now, one more bit of news that eclipses all of this is the introduction of my brand new book, which, if you've been here before, you know has been underway for quite some time. But it is now available on Amazon. In fact, if you use the discount code ATR30, you get on elsevier.com. You can get 30% off and free shipping from the publisher. So got several copies here for those who are interested, but in any event, it is now out there and on the market and no longer on my to-do list. So without further ado, I will hand the floor back to Brad and Drew, and they will focus on tonight's main topic, which is the use of AR in education.
Absolutely. Thank you. Let's give it up for Brian for that. Thank you. All right. Well, as you know, Drew and I have been, our official titles are educational evangelists. This happened because we've been in the classroom. We're using augmented reality in the classroom, and we our paths crossed with DACRI, and eventually we got together because we saw the difference it was making with students in our classrooms. 100%. I've been teaching for about 13 years when I started using it, and I've seen a lot of great programs come and go, acronyms come and go, and when I saw how kids were so engaged and how it impacted their learning, I knew it was more than a new acronym. I knew it was more than the Common Core and everything else. So Drew and I brought as much of it into the classroom as possible. So we started blogging about it. We started speaking about it. We started a show and everything. Well, that has now led to outside of the classroom. Now we are working with DACRI full-time to help evangelize augmented reality in the education space around the world. Yes.
How'd you meet that?
We actually met DACRI through a meetup, kind of like this. I play soccer here locally, and somebody on the team, he produces videos, commercial videos and stuff. And he said, "Hey, I'm going to this meetup, and it's on augmented reality. You should come." I'm like, "All right." So I told
augmented reality workshop is what we were told. So as teachers, we got our backpacks on. We're thinking PD. We're ready to learn, right?
Oh,
we're going to learn how to create AR.
Yeah,
sweet. No, that was nothing like that.
We go. It's a mixer. We didn't realize it was an evening mixer for like advertising agencies, potential clients, things like that. I mean, the shrimp cocktail. There's all kinds of stuff. There was a panel discussion on augmented reality, and we had some speakers there. And one of them happened to also be Brian Mullins, the CEO of DACRI, who we met. Well, Drew actually asked a question during it, and
Brian was too chicken to ask him.
So Drew, you know, seriously, we did not fit in. We were in teacher clothes and backpacks. Everybody else was really dressed up and nice and stuff like that. But anyways, so we got to meet Brian Mullins, and then we continued to talk, and just slowly over time, he approached us and asked us to fly out to LA and wanted to have a discussion, and we had a lot of interesting talks before we took that plane ride out of there, and
I was ready to sign within like minutes.
Who was here?
Brian
Heard me say that.
easy,
Somebody
like,
I said that today.
Where do I sign? Let's go. Right now.
We walked out of that place and Drew was like pretty much ready. It took me a few weeks. I've been teaching for about 15 years, invested, retirement, family. I was a lifer, never leaving the class. Kids, teachers love their jobs for the most part. I loved it. Was never, ever going to leave the classroom, ever. But this opportunity came up, and the idea that they were going to let Drew and I go and work with kids and teachers and school districts and conferences all around the world was something we couldn't pass up. So we'll talk a little bit about our journeys, and that's going to bring us what we're seeing in the AR space in education all over the world, where Europe is, what we know from down under and things like that. So what do you want to start with, Drew? Also, if you have questions, just ask them while we're going. We work with, we've been on advisory boards for companies, not just AR companies, but tech companies. We're in 21st century technology, a lot in education. So that calls upon our expertise a lot. For anybody who knows about the ed tech conference world, McCall is coming up. That's Michigan's Educational Technology Conference. Drew and I are actually delivering the closing keynote, so we'll be there in Detroit. We'll also be doing 2 sessions and doing our show from there, doing a live broadcast. We do a podcast. It's supposed to be about every week, but we've been super busy. It's the 2 Guys Show. We're 2 guys. We're also 2 guys and some iPads. So if you look online, 2guysandsomeIPads.com, that's us. But I put this up. We're also big on Twitter. Okay, who tweets? Come on, students. You guys tweet? No? Look at none of them. None of the 5 kids tweet. That's amazing.
That is amazing.
That is amazing. The adults are tweeting.
We need to get you on Twitter before you leave.
So, all right, so who tweets? You're tweeting us. We're up here. I'm at Tech Brad Wade. He's at Tech Minak. He also handles at AR Detroit. I handle at the 2 Guys Show, but also use the hashtag AR Detroit. Please tweet us, talk to us. We've been tweeting out as well. Drew, are you going to connect in? Or
I'm just trying to get the
okay. So what we're seeing in the AR space, 2 years ago, there was really very little, if any, in education. We were pulling things from the medical world, from the industrial world, things like that, little demos that we had seen and trying to use them in the classroom. Last year, we started seeing some more companies come in, and now there's a lot more coming. I mean, if you do a search in the App Store, AR and education, you'll come across with a lot. 90% of it's pretty gimmicky. It's not very deep, and that's okay. The fact that it's proliferating is a good thing. What we try to focus on are really the deep, meaningful ones. Also talking about the creation platforms that are out there. There's quite a few. They have their pros and cons. We now obviously talk about Daiquiri's platform, the 4D Studio, which is free to students and educators. So girls, that's what I was talking about. I said, I think we have something for you. We'll talk a little bit about an open platform, a web-based program that you can use to create your own augmented reality experiences pretty easily. And it's free for you. So we'll tell you how to sign up and so you can work with that. And there's tutorials out there and things. So Drew, where do you want to get started?
So if you haven't got a chance to go ahead and color, we've got a ton of coloring pages up here. I think there's a bunch of crayons around.
I think we've got a lot of people to color. Most people. And
it is the Crayola Color Alive app is the one that you'll have to download or use one of our devices. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead. Do we have the Apple TV up, or do we have Apple TV to hear it, or do I got to plug in via dongle?
So while they're getting that set up, I'll give you a little bit about what Drew and I have been doing over the last year. Okay, one thing we've done is we asked Daiquiri to let us partner up with schools around the world. We call these flagship schools. And so what we did is we identified 5 schools around the world, 3 in the US and 2 international. And what we've done is we have gone on site, we have trained their staff, we have worked with students on how to use augmented reality in education. One of the schools is in Chicago, Berwyn, Illinois. We've been working with them. We've been on site there 2 or 3 times now. Another one's in Orlando, Florida. Been there 3 times. Couple of the international ones. One is the Frankfurt International School in Germany. We went over to Germany and we worked with the staff teaching them how to use augmented reality in the classroom. Another one was in Cambridge, England. So we went over to London, took the tram to Cambridge for a few days and worked with the Stephen Peirce Foundation, which is a private school for top-notch students in the UK. They gave us some of the percentages, but they really are, they're top 1% in the country. So we were kind of challenged after the first day.
Literally, by like 10-year-old girls. I literally felt so unintelligent when I was
there. I felt plenty intelligent.
It was amazing.
He might not know. But we were, after we were done the first day, one of the coordinators came and said, look, tomorrow you'll be meeting with a bunch of high school students. Now, they're going to understand what you're talking about in a minute or two. What we need to do is we need to tell them what career areas, what career paths they can get into, how this is going to impact their education, also how it's going to impact them as consumers as they get out of school. So we had to really tweak a lot of this stuff. And so we've added that to what we talk about now. Is we don't talk just about how it impacts the educational world. We talk about how it's going to impact everybody. So when we're talking with students, we're talking about, well, here's some things that you may encounter, and it's only going to get more and more as the years go by and you get out of school. Whether it's in real estate, we've got the blueprint one where you can see 3D models. You can interact with 3D models. I see Brad. Can you hold that up, Brad? Yeah. So this is, Daiquiri's blueprint. You can now get a model. You can not only get the model and work around it in 3-dimensional space, you can design, you can paint, you can add furniture, you can landscape, you can, work on different floors.
And if there's there should be like 10 of them around here. So if you guys want to pass them around, we can also demo it too.
Yeah, we'll do some demos. Okay, you about ready to do some demos?
Yeah, we're ready.
All right, so you guys want to see what you were coloring, what this is all about? So think about, let's set the stage here. So think about, we've been teachers, and we're always teachers, but you've got kids in a class now that, you know, reluctant writers, boys typically, 3rd and 4th grade, they'll write, but they have a certain threshold to kind of stop. They don't have a lot pushing. They're not that excited, not that engaged. Using a technology like this, so we say, hey, let's color this about dragons. Okay, what's a story you could have here? Well, they start writing the story, and then you say, well, let's take a look at this. And Drew, why don't you take over, because we've both done this with our kids.
Yeah, so what we did is we gave them the coloring pages, and I taught 4th grade. So if I had my kids just coloring in 4th grade, I'd get more than one email from parents being like, what are you doing in class? Like, really? So we tried to spin it to where we could really inspire them to do something creative. Like you were saying, my boys in my class, they did not like to write at all. So I gave them these coloring pages and said, pick whatever one you want, doesn't matter, but then color it. You have to color it first, then to start creating a creative story behind it. They had no idea that we could actually bring it to life with augmented reality. So they were just excited that they got to color, period, right? So they color, and honestly, they worked harder on the coloring than you've seen them work on just about any other project the rest of the year. But then they started writing their stories, and about halfway through writing, I stopped them, and I said, okay, so why doesn't someone bring up their coloring page? So then when we show it to them, we're just hovering over the iPad, and Brad and I, we shared 10 iPads between the two of us, right? So when you hover over it, you hit the 4D button here, and now it actually comes to life, exactly the way that I colored it on my paper, right? So imagine the reaction the first time that they see this. They want to go back, they want to add details and all these characteristics and important things about their story. It completely changed their whole story. Okay, so it's got question marks on some of them when you touch those and bring additional things into it. But the technology to do this is remarkable. The fact that exactly the way that I color it is the way that it'll appear as a texture on the 3D model with animations.
So also, why don't you talk about some of the, you know, this technology has been around. There's another company that's done some things. What's one of the cool features that we like to use when we're presenting this at conference? I was talking about it before you got here.
No,
it's like my favorite. I'm a big fan of the selfie picture. All you have to do is go look at my Twitter profile, not my profile, but my photos. And
we're going to take a selfie.
Oh, it's
I'm missing.
Is there any fire?
There's no fire with this one.
Oh, he picked the one that doesn't breathe fire. We usually breathe fire, and it's usually like blowing all over.
We could switch. You want to switch one?
Yeah, let's switch. We want a fire one. Come on. And then we got to tweet at Crayola so they see it. We do this quite a bit. I'm sure whoever handles their Twitter account knows us now.
So this is called Instant On, to where I can actually just put him in real input, you know, in the real environment here.
Very nice.
Thanks.
So now I can turn it on here. There we go.
Hold on, you're delayed. There's a delay.
There's a delay.
There's a delay. Here we go.
Okay. Everyone ready?
There's a delay. User error. User error. We can see the screen.
We got a
It's
couple
pretty
pictures
big.
here. We're gonna take a couple, so don't worry.
It's still delayed on the screen. That's okay. We can see your screen pretty decent. Here comes the
Here we
fire.
go.
That's a good one.
Yeah, there we go.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Okay. But the Instant On feature, where I can actually place it in my real environment and create a story about that, I can go and I can interact with it. There's been a lot of pretty cool pictures of people where they've placed it in their room.
I put it in a guy's coffee cup one day, which is really cool. We were in Toledo. We were working with the staff in a school in Toledo, and we were showing that in the superintendent's coffee cup was right there. Put him right on the edge of the coffee cup, and then I blew I said, it looks like it needs to be heated up a little bit. So then I hit it, and it blew fire on his coffee. I'm like, there you go, it's ready. I don't know, but it was fun.
You thought it was fun.
I laughed, but that's no surprise. So.
Yep. So that's the Color Alive, Crayola Color Alive. There's 4 different books. Each book has 16 pages in it. So you can buy these at any of the the major retail stores. They're I think they're $5.99 or something like that.
$5.99, $6.99, yeah.
And then each book comes with one special crayon. And so you can scan that crayon and it unlocks it. And if you color with that crayon, it adds like special effects to it as well.
Now, you can color it with regular crayons. Because
Yes.
I think when you first, without somebody telling you that, you think you have to have special crayons. Because there's a special crayon in there. And you're like, oh, I don't have, no, you could use regular crayons. You know,
Colored pencil.
Crayola crayons, of course, but you know. But yeah, colored pencils and such. And the thing is you see, that was pretty cool. But you see how engaging that can be to kids, especially the first time they see it. And what our job was find real ways to use that in the classroom, not to where it's gimmicky, because we know if we can engage kids, any learning outcome is possible. Okay, once I have a kid hooked, maybe this kid needs to work on presentation skills. Maybe that kid needs to work on writing skills. Once you have them, then any learning outcome is possible. Okay, this is the first thing I've ever seen that crossed that entire platform. Okay, I can capture 80% of the kids with this, 35% of the kids with that. I can capture just about every kid with this. Okay, because once they're hooked, then I can work on their learning outcome. Doesn't matter. Timmy, that was a great dragon. Can you tell Tommy about that? Maybe he's a little shy. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I can tell him what I did. And you can bring kids along for any learning outcome.
And the experience is completely different. If I just told a kid, go write a creative story, well, what do you want me to write about? Write about whatever you want. You have no idea how hard of a time kids have with that. When they can write about whatever they want, about. And it is very difficult for them sometimes. So when you give them something like this, it's just a slight prompt that totally engages them, and they experience it in a completely different way. And that's when we talk about the experience of it and how important that is, right? Kids, they experience something awesome at school and they want to tell everybody about it, right? Everybody's like that though. You never have an awesome experience and tell nobody.
And think about this. This in the high schoolers and kids at scale school, you think about this. Okay, how often is it that a student will share something in education on their own social media? That doesn't happen very often. We've seen that happen. We have seen lessons that have been so powerful. We've come in right after the teacher, and a kid came up. We were in a ninth grade high school, ninth grade campus, and we had just worked with the staff on using augmented reality on the day before. We worked with students the next day. We went into a classroom. We showed a target. A kid runs up and goes, "Oh my God, my teacher used this yesterday in class. Look, I took a picture of it and I tweeted it." This was a ninth grader tweeting and using social media about what they learned in school. So one of our questions now is, what we're teaching, is it worth kids sharing on social media? Most of the time it's going to be no, but that's okay. But now we think about, well, we can do things that kids are excited to share. And that's what Drew's talking about. We now have some technology that we can use it as like the Midas touch to draw kids in to where they're engaged. Once they're engaged, then all the learning outcomes we want are possible.
It allows you to bring things to the classroom before that was impossible, right? And the next app we're going to show is Anatomy 4D. And there's two different targets inside the app that you can stay right to your camera roll and use. First one that I'm going to show is the heart.
Raise your hand if you've seen this. Yeah, the regular shoe been here. Okay.
Okay? And I don't have any sound. Sorry.
That's okay. Bump,
But you can hear
bump,
it beating.
There we go.
Okay?
And you can feel it.
But I can also go through and using the wheel here, I can actually turn off parts and I can go inside the heart. Okay? Brad, you want to talk about why this is so powerful?
Yeah. So it's interesting because we were at a conference and we had an educator who reached out to us afterwards. Said, "Oh, can I get the target of the heart?" Was it his niece?
His niece.
His niece was born with a heart defect, and they were having a hard time explaining to her and the family about what was going on, because it's kind of an analogous thing. It's hard to really explain it. So he saw this demo and asked for it. So he took it to the doctor, and the doctor sat down and explained to them exactly what was going on with her heart. Well, then they were able to go back and explain that with the girl and to other family members firsthand, say, well, right here, this ventricle right here, there's a little tear. They're going to go in and repair that, okay? What a great application to make something that's really hard to visualize to make it more understandable. You know, and really, so who knew the heart's not like a Valentine? It looks like this, you know? I mean, you know, I knew what the heart looked like, but I've never really understood it until I've really, you know, I've played with this demo so many times. And what I love is this, well, I'll show it, the valve. You can see, can you get the valve? The valve opening up for me just He's going to, there you go, right there. You can see how this valve opens up each time. And, you know, it just really shows you how intricate this organ is. And this was made for a medical school, so it's really accurate.
And when we say it's very accurate, take
Good
that into
segue.
account when you do the whole human body. Okay, so just disclaimer, kids, if you demo this for kids, you want to, when you first fire it up, you want to dial down the skin tone.
Right there.
Because like we said, it's accurate, right? So it's very detailed.
We've seen some giggles in the back of the classroom.
Brad always giggles.
Why giggle? I laugh a lot anyways. So yeah, so this is great because this allows you to get down to different body systems. You can turn them on and off. So if you want to go and do the, if you want to go do bones and circulatory system, he could go and do those together. Oh, you're a little stuck. You're stuck. He's gonna do like a flyby. And that's all right. This was actually one of the very first things I brought in with my students about 3 years ago. And that was the first reaction I saw of kids. They're just like, they really didn't even know what they were looking at, but they knew that they couldn't stop looking at it. So I'm like, I had to get as much of this in my classroom as possible. And there was not much to bring in at all. So we had to get very creative, which I actually think was very helpful, because then we say, well, how can we use these limited resources in a meaningful way in the classroom?
So that's Anatomy 4D. Both these apps that we've shown so far are free. Yeah.
At the TEDx Detroit conference last year, they had a very similar technology for not just for the classroom, but for actual hospitals and stuff. So I think it's really important that it helps patients visualize and take seriously the condition of their body.
Yes.
It helps the medical field as well.
Because,
Yes,
and
yeah,
I
you should-
say this story because
Yeah.
I am the worst eater you'll ever meet in your life. I am
He
awful.
looks fit.
I would eat
He's
donuts
not.
and pizza
It's
every
disgusting.
meal. It is. I'm not
Bagel bites, pizza, and donuts, and 5-hour energies.
not
every
ashamed
day.
of it. Love it.
It's terrible.
And I'm not going to change. But if I saw my heart beating incorrectly on the table, like literally like this is your heart right now, it is not operating correctly, I would change my eating habits.
Now, why are you saying that? Because can they do
think
that?
about that. With some of the different fitness devices and things like that can track your heartbeat, linking it to this where it is actually beating the way that your heart is.
Which you can do now. You can link that via
That's
Bluetooth,
crazy.
and it will beat your information.
So that's an example we often talk about.
I think
because
he needs to
that
look
is
up to
powerful.
one. Seriously, it's
That is
really
powerful.
bad. We'll be out of town. I'll be like, donuts, a dozen Krispy Kreme. You gotta eat like 10 of them.
Love Christmas.
Seriously,
Love
we were in LA and he bought a whole box and you ate like almost everything. Seriously, I had a yogurt.
Don't hate on me.
All right, so what are you gonna show next?
So we've got a couple other things. We've got Enchantium, which is right out here. We've got a couple of the Enchantium packs. This is an element of play. We also have the element cubes. We'll show those.
Yeah, we'll do this last.
This is more fun.
Oh, are we gonna play?
No.
Why don't we play anymore, Drew?
Okay.
You'll find out.
We'll have to demo it real quick, I guess.
I'll go easy.
So there's 4 cards here, right? And think this is called fisticuffs. Think of these like Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Which he didn't know about. He says this because he's heard me demo it before.
What? Rock'em Sock'em
Sock'em.
Robots?
He knows it because of the Santa Claus 2 movie. That's it. So, yeah. This is the digital version of Rock'em Sock'em Robots. You guys, it's an old plastic game with
Old was
robots.
the key word there. Did you guys hear that?
Okay, that the robots used to, you physically would like hit this trigger and their arms go tick, 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 and eventually one would spring up and you'd lose. Well, this is the new 21st century digital version of Rock'em Sock'em Robots, and I am about 40-2 against Drew.
Which is
That's
why
why
I don't demo it anymore.
He doesn't like to play anymore, so.
Which one do you want?
I'll take the scientist.
I'm gonna do the toy maker.
Let's do it. Bring it. All right. I won't even play. I'll just let it run on its own. So you see here. So this is me. This is Drew. As the cards get close, we'll reach out. We'll start punching each other and stuff. I could start tapping the screen, making him duck and move and things. This is Daiquiri's element of play. Anytime they have something that is more, there's a lot of learning involved in play. A lot of things that Daiquiri will create is just proof of concept, ideas to try out different technologies. No.
Yep.
Oh, it's backwards. Oh, I thought I was over there. That's okay.
Yeah, I thought you were.
That's okay. Did you get it? Do it? All right, let's get up for Drew. There you go. That's number 3. So
Victory.
So the Enchantium, if you look under Daiquiri, Enchantium comes up. If it's under element, if it's something that comes up under their element of play, they'll put it in there, which is nice. They just added fairy tale, but this is strings, right?
I don't think we have. So there's also in there, it's called musical strings. There's 3 circles, different designs on them. They look like coasters in the Enchantia pack here. And then when you scan them,
this is really cool. This is one thing I love about this: laser beams. Who doesn't love laser beams, right?
I love laser beams.
Scotty, did you get a shark with laser beams on that?
Austin Powers, anybody?
Right? You guys know the reference? All right, couple
Yes,
back there.
yes,
Right on, yeah!
Right
Right on.
The
Okay.
youngest one here.
So he's got laser beams. Which let's get your sound up, Drew.
Yep.
Hey,
You can plug it in. I don't know if it's gonna work.
Yeah, Jack and I think it should be. It
Oh
should.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
We'll do this. I mean, I'll make a mess and I'll tie it in knots, and Brian will have to stay late to get it undone, but that's okay. Oh, you lost your server, and we're on. Okay, well, when he comes back on, what you're going to see is we're going to have laser beams connecting these coasters. So it's using the target on the coasters and connecting them with laser beams. But it doesn't stop there. So now we're going to go interactive on this. And as he... There's a delay. Is there a delay here? And no sound. Okay, again, do it again. I'll make the sound. Wah, 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 wah. that was actually not too bad. If you're familiar with the sound, that was decent. Okay, so if I say so myself. Right, exactly. Why not, right? You have nothing to compare it to.
Don't make it do it again.
All right, well, no, I've got 2 more sounds to make because we're looking at blue. So what happens now?
So if you touch the coaster, it changes the color of the laser beam, which changes the sound. And
Now I have 3 sounds I can make.
just by touching the laser beam on
Whoa,
here.
whoa, whoa, whoa. There we go. That was that one.
But also, when you hit it, when I move it closer or farther, it changes the pitch based on how far away it is. Okay, so we'll let someone else play with this down there, so he doesn't need to do the noises anymore.
Well, you had to get the idea. We've demoed this enough. I know kind of how he's going to do it. So. It's another operator error, but that's okay. I have to deal with this on the road a lot.
And then the last one is fairy tale. Do we have one? We do not. Oh.
Is it a different app or is it?
It's all in Enchantia.
It's the same app of Enchantium, but there are 3 different sets of targets in there. You just saw strings. You just saw fisticuffs. The third one's called Fairy Tale. What's really unique about this one, which I don't know if we're going to be able to. You want to do screen? You got a second?
I know we can do it.
Okay. Well, what I'll do is when we demo and people come around, we'll get it out. What it does is it allows you to. It's where like Minecraft meets augmented reality. So if you're familiar with Minecraft, where you're building in a world, the thing is you use different objects, and it will find it'll scan the area, and it will add different objects into your screen. You have 3-dimensional objects, so it's got like a cottage, trees, and a character. Well, the cool thing is there's some buttons along the bottom where you can like get cobblestone, and you can swipe your finger and it creates a path. You can grow grass and things. So it allows you to build and design inside of your experience. And what we have seen, little kids who don't have the fine motor skills yet to write a story, usually a teacher has to dictate for them. They dictate to a teacher, teacher writes. Now they can go in and they can design these stories and build inside there and show what they've been creating, which is really cool. And we'll get that out. We'll do screen-to-screen demo. And Drew's going to show, this is probably our last demo for now.
Yeah.
And then we're going to open it up to, keep dialogue, but then we'll have other people demo. But this is
Elements 4D.
Love it.
So high school kids, think about chemistry, right? You've got the poster on the wall that's been there since 1974.
When I was
the
in
periodic
class.
table, and it's always been there. It's always been taught the same way, right? Well, with Elements 4D, each block, and there's 6 of them, each face here has a different element from the periodic table. So when I go ahead and I scan that block,
just think now we can pull out that element, put the cube on the table. Now we can actually see it and interact with it. Drew just did gold. Now he's got gold here.
So we got gold, and then if I go ahead and I touch the name here, I can get more information about it.
Information about gold. Okay.
I bring in chlorine.
So we've got chlorine, which as it comes up, you'll see it's a green gas. So we've got a gas and we've got a solid.
And now, just by pushing the blocks together physically,
Ding!
it gives the chemical reaction.
So now he's got gold chloride. So now, and actually, if you look, if the screen was not just a little delay, you can actually see, like, as you move the blocks, the gold chloride will be moving, the liquid will be moving. There's all kinds of great reactions that you get, a lot of information. Is copper on there or any of the other ones that I like to show? Let's see.
But I mean, it gives you the ability to do experiments and things like that and learn about these in a safe environment. And one of the things in here is, one of the elements is mercury. You're not allowed to have mercury in school anymore. But now I can hold it in my hand. I can interact with it. I can see how it interacts with other elements. Okay, so it's one real big bonus.
Obviously, they still had it when Brad was.
Exactly. You know, I was told I could handle it with no gloves. I mean, so maybe that's, you know, explains a little bit. You know, I mean, you know.
Yeah. So, real powerful way for learning. And I probably would have done a lot better at chemistry if I had had these.
He did terrible.
And so we worked with teachers all over the country to create lesson plans for these. So we have 2 sets of lesson plans for upper elementary, 2 for middle school, and 2 for high school that are available for free online.
Yep, and they're really great. We had a master chemist oversee all of them and had them all looked at and stuff. So, are you gonna do one more? Are you gonna do a little bit with this? Like any other screens or no? Well, we don't have some. We have a lot of mixed blocks, but so what we'll do is we'll open up to other people who brought things to demo, and then what we'll do is we'll kind of wrap it up with the general conversation, and then we'll leave things out for demos and connecting and talking, trading business cards or whatnot. Okay, so that's some of the stuff we have. I know, Brad, you have something you want to demo. Anybody else? Just by show of hands, who has things they want to share? You guys? But you do have something? All right, awesome. All right, so why don't you go ahead and go? You sure? You're going to defer to... Oh, did you just say I'm updating my app? I love that. What a phrase. Think about that phrase, really. You know, like, oh, sorry, Ken, I'm updating my app. You know, it's almost like, I've Googled you. You know, I mean, that was a funny phrase a few years ago. Oh, what do you mean I've been Googled? You know, I mean, we're a little older that we had to get used to being Googled, okay? But now it's like I'm updating my app and stuff. That's clever. So, Brad, why don't you come up and then, again, just remind everybody, or you can demo from there. Unless you
if you're on, yeah, as long as you're on the Wi-Fi, you should be able to, if you're on the guest Wi-Fi,
just when you
be able to
start,
AirPlay.
give us a reminder of the company, the work you do, and then just tell us a little about it.
I'll jump off.
You're going to bring up.
As long as you're on the guest network, which is correct. As long as you're on the guest network, you should be able to find the air server mirror.
And if something doesn't work, you can just blame Drew.
I'll take the blame.
There's actually a hashtag out there if you do blame Drew, because that was on our show one night. It was really good. All right, so you about on?
To find it.
So Brad's been coming here for probably over a year now, and long-time member. Does some really cool stuff. See if you can jump on. Right on. Okay. Drew and I taught here in Bluefield Hills. We taught at Eastover Elementary. I taught at Hickory Grove before it closed. So we are local guys, but we've been traveling all over the country and the world working with teachers and students. And even when we just go to conferences, we try to reach out to schools and teachers and students. And sometimes we'll fly into a different airport so we can hook up with another school before we even present. So as much as we can, we like to get in the classrooms. We even do it locally. We've got some classrooms in Lansing, classrooms in Schwartz Creek that we go into, in addition to classrooms around here that we go to on a regular basis. What? Oh, it's still in the wall. So any questions on anything that we've talked about? Yeah. I don't know what that was. Oh, it was something. Yeah, it was gravity. I sat on this and something broke under the table. Cause and effect, guys. Apparently I should eat less. Any questions on anything that you've heard tonight? Any of the demos, the technology, anything that Brian talked about, or Drew and I talked about, or demos, or videos? Curiosity questions?
I got some news to share.
Yeah, sure.
Not news, but a tip. There's a really good podcast, which Brian's mentioned on quite a bit, called Augmented Reality Dirt Podcast.
Yep, Air Dirt. Yep.
Us three were on there together.
Yeah,
Rampolla,
we were on there. That's right, Joe Rampolla.
Yeah, you guys were.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, he's been probably doing the longest AR.
Podcast.
He's probably has the longest running AR podcast that I'm aware of. He's been doing it for a while. He's a police officer in New York, I believe, right? That's
Yeah,
his
New
name?
Jersey.
New Jersey. Okay. So yeah, we were on that show together, all three of us. But it's a really good podcast to listen to and catch up on. It's got a lot of episodes.
Always talking about the latest technology. There's so many, like every week there's a new wearable that comes out.
Yep.
Like this year, there's like 36 of them or something. That have been announced.
Right, and Google just did away with Google Glass. They buried that. But here's the thing: is we kind of thought that might be the case because Google Glass really was designed to push technology
You know what, I'm not
and to understand consumers' feelings about it. Okay, we saw the bans right away because people thought, oh, I'm being recorded all the time, and we have an issue. When we speak a lot, what we say is we get to decide a lot of what happens in the space. When Google Glass came out, they got a lot of feedback on how we as consumers felt. Okay, they knew they had to address the privacy issue because all of a sudden we were all like, I don't want to be recorded all the time. You know, so there were certain places you couldn't wear them in, stuff like that. People were very hypersensitive to it. Driving, exactly. Drew has a set. You know, we've used them. They did push the technology, which was good. I think it was exactly what it was designed for. Now, you know, the next line of wearables are coming out, and then they'll just continue to get better, faster. Are you on?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Download this app on this one, so I don't have to use the.
All right. Well, we'll see if he can get. I will just fill time,
He's good at that.
which I can do. Yes, in the back.
So the Google Glass 2.0 that is over now.
They've closed the program for now. I think they're still working on it. Right?
Yeah, the program where I don't even know if you can buy them anymore. You know, they did open up to, you know, they were like $17.50 or whatever, and we were just a school district about 4 months ago, and superintendent came in, we were talking about it, and he said, do you think this is something, you know, we should use? And we said, well, that's up to you. He goes, buy 3. And so the person went out and bought 3, you know. So, but the thing is I've used them in my class. Drew used them. Now, he used them in some amazing ways. One of the most clever ways I saw is, and Drew, you might have to correct me, if I think I got the gist. The thing was, student had a speech issue. But when the speech teacher would come in, he would correct it and could not repeat it. So what she did was put the Google Glass on him and did a live broadcast. She was able to watch and see what happened when he was speaking because he was not.
And then talk to him with the earpiece.
Yeah. How cool is that? I mean, I thought that was a really creative way to use it. He was already using it to monitor how students are learning. He was letting students wear it so he could see how they encountered problems. And the students also video and share and teach with each other. I used it because I was working with, I'll tell you my story after this. So talk us through what we're seeing.
Yeah, so this is a McLaren P1, which is Brad's favorite, son's favorite.
My son's favorite car.
There you go.
Yeah, that's so true.
So this was done from our folks over in Germany. We've got a few things in here we can, it's just a simple little demo they wanted to see the airflow here and with the tail up and down. Get into, like I said, we do more design and engineering type stuff. You can see that. I wanted to get this one going. I'll leave a few of these cards if you guys want to scan them, but has a bunch of different products like Vera Bradley and something we did for Boeing and some other automotive as well as jewelry. But one of the cool things about the company I'm working for is that we've got a lot of techniques for scanning materials. So we have a laser scanner that scans materials in a little black box, and it scans it from every possible angle, color, radiosity of material, bump mapping, so you actually get you know the bump lifts perfectly scanned from like a piece of leather or any other kind of material that you might be using. So that's kind of the idea there. I don't know why I can't see the screen. Try again here in a second. If not, you guys can come over and take a look at it on the iPad as well. Try that.
Yeah, it's like the internet.
Yeah.
He has 4 bids on eBay.
Yeah. Let me try this. See my mom, right? There we go. Second. Oh, only available on iPad, that's why. So go figure. All right, so I wish we can't connect that one, but I could show that at the table there.
Yeah. So after you guys go, we'll kind of wrap up semi-officially, and then we'll just have demos out. We can go all up and down the table. You can look and stay as long as you want, leave if you need to, but then we'll all connect and talk. But so thanks, Brad, for sharing that, and you can check out his demos afterwards. Do you want to come on up? I love it.
Awesome.
Love
My favorite book. Favorite book.
Love it. And
Butcher's movie.
It is. I know. It is. March is reading month. Did you guys know that? March is reading month. I've been following a lot of what a lot of teachers are doing on Instagram, and actually, it was funny. I thought with where a lot of things are, I actually thought somebody was augmenting it because their caption was bringing it to life. Of course, they had a lot of kids dressed up. So I'm like, oh, they're literally trying to bring it to life. So it's funny when Drew was telling me you guys are coming, he told me about the book. I'm like, how appropriate is that? Because it is reading month right now, and you guys augmented this one, if I'm not mistaken. So that's fantastic. There is actually a principal, I should send this, a principal out of Minnesota. This is just information. What he did for March's reading month, he reached out to educators all over the world, and he has a bingo game that he is sharing with all the educators. Well, one of the cool things is I did something for augmented reality. So my space is on using augmented reality. So, that's another way that we're all cross-pollinating to get this out in the space. So I'm able to use March's reading month and a bingo game to put AR out there. So we're continuing to pollinate and get it out there in our reach.
Are you still mirroring?
Oh, is he stuck? Oh,
yeah.
Well.
Oh, Brad's the Justin Bieber listener.
Yeah, Justin Bieber under the mistletoe,
Oh, probably is actually. I have my daughter's.
It's his daughter. I know. I'd say the same thing, right? Oh, my kid's got a hold of my phone, If this is a TV show, we'd say 5 minutes before the meeting, Brad's in his car rocking to Justin Bieber, right?
I don't know why it's in that.
Well, let me shut it down again.
That way.
Would you like some water? I get you some water. Would you like some? I'll get you some water. I've got the technology to do this.
No, that wasn't me.
You seem a little nervous. I'll only fill up halfway, so we'll spill it. Don't worry, I'm right here.
You're making it worse.
All right, that might be it.
And boom.
Bye.
Yay, I'm excited.
Every picture.
Really?
81,000 unread emails.
What? What? That's crazy.
So we have Margie and I, and Tim is one of our colleagues. So Margie and I have a startup, and it's called Magic Book right now, which you don't remember that name.
Oh, you're gonna change that?
Yeah.
Oh, you have to. Got it. Okay.
So we actually started at Detroit Startup Weekend, built a project in one weekend. We won that and ended up winning the prize in the Global Startup Battle, and which got us a booth at CES.
Awesome.
And then got us all kinds of awesome stuff. But Margie and I have little kids. We have lots of books around the house, and we thought, why not be able, right now the stuff in our house is this thing and this thing. Why not put them together and be able to do stuff? So, holding it up like a viewfinder. You can, this sounds right.
Yeah, we've had issues.
You can see the characters are I'm gonna like the page. So the idea for us was to use the content of the book and really build on top of it. It's about the book itself. So this page, if I touch it, it should trigger the trees to grow. You can see that very night in Max's realm of forest. So we have a few pages done.
Did you have to work with the author or the copyright issues? And you probably should.
There's not an AR lawyer in the room or anything.
No.
Earmuffs.
Everyone earmuffs. Yes, we will definitely have to, especially where, as you can see, it's like a pop-up book. Right?
Yeah.
We're reproducing characters. Some of them were 3D, some of them are 2D or with
Yeah.
2.5D.
Yeah.
And we're definitely playing off of that. So we're hoping that this is something that publishers will be interested in because it's not using specially published books.
Re-release their book.
It is, no, it's the books that they already have.
Yeah, they're
available. It's already printed. So these are, you know, you can buy it off Amazon. Oops, sorry, I'm not. You can buy it off Amazon. You know, get the book from your public library, the books and stuff at schools, the one you would home. So we're hoping publishers will like this idea, kind of adding some new interaction on top of the things that have already been written.
We actually want to do a lot with encouraging kids to pre-readers and early readers to pick out certain syllables and words and find the word on the page that rhymes with the story. So working with literacy specialists and let's start building content piece, creating the experience actually also help with learning literacy.
That's where you'll differentiate yourselves because you're actually going to create a deeper experience where they can actually use it and integrate. Because as we said, that's the hardest thing right now. There are a lot of things out there now, but it's throwing a basketball into the garbage can or something. You know, you really can't do a lot with that. So by doing this with literacy and stuff like that, that'll really differentiate yourself and where teachers will be able to grab onto and say, good, this is going to help me, help my students learn versus just flash in the pan, you know, magic trick.
We're hoping that parents and children, this will be an experience that parents and children start having together. So it opens up different conversations around storybooks and how you think about the characters and the storyline. We actually also have this huge, our big hairy goal is really to sort of reimagine the week to make this a place where kids can contribute their own content, their own characters, and learn how to potentially add their own content directly to the story and share that with the world. It's really an attempt to kind of bring you into our generation. And this is really our generation, not my generation. The younger generation. And this is sort of our first step.
Some of our biggest inspiration has been from teachers, like when we were at CES, or just in general bumping into people. You know, they generate a lot of ideas around, kids whose first language is not English and how reading is difficult. And so we have things where they can touch the word and then have a thing that pops up so they can understand and help pronounce, or things that recognize when they say the word if they've said it correctly or not.
Have you seen AR flashcards? Okay, yeah, so that, because you can go off that idea. Just want to make sure you've seen that. So, yeah.
Good thing about meetup groups is when people run into each other that obviously need to do business together.
Actually, we'll probably talk, I'm sure, after this, which is great. So even if it's just to put you in connection with some other people, some literacy specialists, teachers, classrooms that you can work with, or whatever. Right. Right. Well, one thing you know, if you want, once you have something you want to share with the education world, let us know. We can help spread that out. We have quite a large learning network. We're connected to about 30,000 on Twitter. So we have a pretty good reach. So if you're looking for people, even if specifics, we can say, hey, it's somebody in this area interested in doing something or working with, and we'll connect you and stuff. So that's what this is about. So we can try to put you, in touch with the right people as well.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Well,
Thanks,
thank
guys.
you.
Yeah, thank you, guys. That was really cool. Very cool. All right. Anybody else have something they want to share? Students, anything you want to say or share, or questions, comments?
Well, a few months ago, we were designing like an app for how students could take like pictures of nature and sort of identify different species, which is kind of like a nascent version of AR.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I'm just questioning, like, in order for the AR to work, you to scan the environment beforehand, or
That's a little harder because that environment will change.
yeah.
Typically, right now, it's like a static image. So if you were, like, say, looking at a tree, you'd want to have like a picture of the tree and say, have it out by the target. There is one app right now that will scan a leaf and it will tell you what that is, and that's pretty robust. But
It's a cloud one.
I think we have a question or something to share back there.
I have something to share about that.
Okay.
So while I'm in the middle of designing whatever, there's so many a game where you get cubes of running the ball, cubes around it, and try to get them, and when you get it, you win. And especially that I was, and then if you get to 13, I was gonna say 13, instead of cubes, I used points. 13 points, and also there's like 3 lovely in the end of his head, and trying to show me. And then while I'm waiting, and then my teacher's computer was slow for the next generation.
Ouch.
Yeah, that was a bad part. Never leave your computer sitting in a grand seat.
Yeah.
Nobody else made that mistake. But yeah, Daniel's my young prodigy here. He started working with him a few months ago. He's doing ZBrush stuff, and we've got some 3ds Max and getting into Unity. I tutor normally older people, but Daniel is a monster. He'll go 3-4 hours and he just can't stop. He loves to do everything. So they're all outside of the Photoshop.
That's awesome.
Amazing ways to pick up so fast. Yeah, hopefully in the next meeting or a couple meetings down the road, we'll have actually take a look at it.
Very cool. Love it. Thank you.
And then to get back to yours real quick, I don't want to leave it unfinished, is before we leave, we want to make sure they understand 4D Studio.
Yeah.
That we can get you guys set up, that any of the students that want to get information on 4D Studio, we can just help you know where to go, and then you can log in and get your account, and then you can get started. So make sure that if you're interested, we can chat real quick afterwards. So awesome. Other stuff, questions for other people across the table, anything like that, or anything for the good of the cause before we break out into just loose demos and everybody just connecting with everybody. Yes.
I want to see you guys beat me to it. I don't remember if anyone remembers a couple meetings ago, we were talking about similar ideas, and I said the Dr. Seuss book needs to be.
Yeah.
Need to have something going on with that.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, and augmenting books is one of the most popular things we have seen, and it's one of the most easily understandable and identifiable things teachers can understand, because they don't have classroom libraries, and they're like, oh, that makes sense. So it's good that you're in that. That won't be a hard sell for people, because teachers and educators understand that. That makes sense. Some things may be a little more difficult, but that's something we've come across a lot that they can understand quickly. So